Innovation. When I'm thinking of innovation, I would always think of brand new ideas. But what I learned is, as it turns out, innovation is really about building upon existing ideas and creations. And it's obviously about useful ideas because if you already have a good idea, which was original, which would be an invention, the only way to build upon that is going to be a useful idea that builds upon that, and that's what innovation is. So I guess what I always thought was innovation is some brand new scheme or new idea that was totally original, but that is false. As I previously stated, um, innovation is more about building upon products and ideas that already exist. An example that I thought of was like Nest with thermostats. Obviously, thermostats have been around, I suppose, since air conditionings have been. So the idea of a thermostat is not new at all. But building upon that thermostat and making one that is smart and interacts with the user and learns their habits, what they like to set the temperature at, when they wake up, when to go to bed, and also one that you can log into through your phone and control remotely. That is new. So that's an innovation. Invention would be, I'm sorry, innovation, yeah, is taking something and building upon that to make it better, basically. So an invention is a brand new product or idea. I've already touched on this, but a good point that was made to me in one of the videos we watch is inventions can be terrible. I mean, it's just something new. You don't know how the market will react, how it will take off, how exactly it will work in the consumer's hands until it's out there. So just because you invented something doesn't mean it's going to be, a great idea. It just means that it's new and has not previously before been invented or thought of, at least not to our knowledge. But you're not building upon a previous idea or product. You're inventing something totally new. As we have touched upon in our readings and other things, a lot of new businesses aren't original ideas. So I think creativity and innovation are very connected to entrepreneurship because it's about looking at something that somebody has looked at a million different ways, millions of different times. Um, I've kind of mentioned this again, but the thermostat. I mean, how many times do people use or look at a thermostat and not give it 1 second thought about, man, this could be better. But it took one guy or a couple guys to look at, and obviously the technology, has allowed for rapid growth. But it just took a couple guys with one idea and being creative to create a whole new marketplace and really build upon a monopoly at first because even though it is innovation and it's building upon an existing product, it was kind of a leap. It wasn't a small step. And so therefore they had a product like no other. And, really creativity connects innovation and entrepreneurship, by helping those people connect the dots that lead us to those improvements and recognize their product and efficiency. The importance of innovation in society, to me, um, is about the meaning of the product, not the money. If you're solely getting into a business just about money, you're kind of, to me, in it for the wrong reasons. It doesn't mean some people don't do well that way, but you're trying to better society, make things easier. Innovation is about that. Um, Innovation for companies, it's avoiding stagnation. You don't want to be stagnant. You don't want to rest on your laurels. I mean, look at big companies like Kodak, Sears, Blockbuster, quote unquote companies that I guess you could say were too big to fail at one time, but they all failed because you know what? They did not innovate. They stuck with what they were doing because that's what they've always done and they did it well. But the problem is eventually things are going to change and what you've done well, no matter how well you do it, other people are going to come in and innovate and change things and make things a little more competitive, and over time if you do not adapt and change, you will be left in the past. So it helps companies stay alive, really. Innovations to organizations, I mean, it's the betterment of people as a whole. Like we discussed, it might not be a huge jump, but incremental innovation over time. Um, in one of the videos, it was ice. At some point, ice was only essentially like mined from cold areas that were cold all year round, and people would go and just basically mine the ice. And then there was an incremental step, and well, we could actually ship this in trucks, and then eventually we got refrigerators, and you can be down here in Florida in the middle of summer. God bless it, you can have some ice, and it's an overall betterment of the organization as a whole of people. Really, we already touched on this, but innovation is important to society um, in so many ways. We define innovation by the value provided to society. Um, as we already talked about Nest thermostats, they're saving people money on their power bill, and they're saving um, by reducing power use, saving the environment, or helping to do their part. Um, just like the Tesla would be an innovation. The car has been around for a very long time, but the electric motor helps people not to use fossil fuels, not to be so dependent upon those things, and reduce carbon emissions, which is better for society. Innovation is important to companies. Well, it helps companies create value and capture value. The majority of profits are from routine innovations, not from um, products that come out of nowhere and are earth-shattering. For instance, Microsoft has produced 303 billion in operating income from incremental innovations. Now, they initially had a wonderful invention. Innovation has kept them afloat. Innovation is important to organizations. Well, it helps us overcome the prevailing winds, so to speak, and not just kind of float down the river, the lazy river that we can, as human beings, get used to. We get comfortable in our own skin, but innovation helps us to grow, not stick to that status quo. An example to me would be, crowdsourcing or fundraising through Kickstarter, which are these organizations of people, these groups of people that you now have the opportunity to use to think and have ideas and grow, or to fundraise, that are very different. Two common approaches to innovation. You have incremental and radical. We kind of already touched on this, but incremental is one step at a time. When I talked about ice, went from mining ice to trucking ice to the refrigerator. The refrigerator was a big jump. There's a lot of steps. It's not straight from mining ice to refrigeration. There's a lot of different steps along the way. Radical innovation would be like the iPhone. The phone existed, but to essentially turn it into a handheld PC was radical. So thank you very much. I enjoyed it, and see you later.